And can we mute everyone? Okay, everyone, let's get the hustings started. Welcome, everyone, to the TSSA Joint President and Treasurer online hustings. I'm Mariam Eslamdouz, the TSSA's General Secretary, and I'll be chairing the event tonight. Turning to this evening's husting, you're going to hear from the candidates standing for TSSA President and Treasurer. The candidates for Treasurer include Paul Mangan and Mary Sitterley. Candidates for President include Duncan Bates, Melissa Haywood, and Adam Wilson. I'd firstly like to welcome the candidates to our hustings and congratulate them on their successful nominations. I'd also like to thank all the members who've joined online for the hustings this evening. As a reminder to members listening in, the TSSA President and Treasurer elections are currently live. Members should be receiving ballots to their home addresses now, although if you haven't, for whatever reason, it's possible to have your ballots reissued. Please email our support services inbox if you have concerns about your ballot. Charlotte, will you be putting the support services email in the chat? Okay. The deadline for ballots to be received by Civica is 12 noon on Wednesday, 30th of April, 2025. So in order for your ballots to count, they have to have reached Civica by then. In terms of how the hustings will run tonight, each candidate will be provided with 3 minutes to give an opening speech about why they're standing for election. Unfortunately, one of the candidates for president, Adam Wilson, is unwell and so can't make the event tonight, but I will be reading out his candidate statement on his behalf. The event will move on to a Q&A section where candidates will be asked questions. These are questions that members have submitted in advance, and I will ask as many of these questions as possible in the allotted time that there is. Each candidate for Treasurer and President will be asked the same questions, and everyone will be given up to 2 minutes for their response in total. There will also be some general questions that all candidates can respond to. We'll start with Treasurer candidates initially, so I welcome Paul Mangan to share his opening statement. Over to you, Paul.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everybody. So, very much they're keen to restore integrity, accountability, and growth in our union. Actually, we saw in 2020.
Chair, I don't know about anyone else, but I can't hear Paul.
It's frozen.
I can't hear Paul.
Yeah, it might be his connection, so we might need to advise him to turn his screen off while he's speaking.
Present the union's accounts in the 2024 annual.
Paul, Charlotte, can you mute all members, and I will give Paul an instruction. Paul, we couldn't hear you. Do you mind starting your speech again, and switching off your camera?
Switching off my camera.
Yeah, I think that will help.
Okay, so where did you hear? Or do you want me to start again?
Just start again. Start again, Paul.
Okay, so in 2023, the independent reports exposed serious abuse of power, bullying, and sexual misconduct by senior individuals in TSSA. A new leadership promised a sweeping change, but the same toxic culture persists. Allegations of bullying continued and abuses of power remained unchecked. Though certain in the failure of TSSA Executive Committee to present the union's accounts, failure to present the union's accounts in 2024 annual conference inquired by TSA overall. And our elected trustees have been denied access to Executive Committee papers, potentially preventing them from fulfilling their legal duty. Members deserve better. We need urgent leadership change to rebuild the trust and secure TSA's future. My priorities will be grow our membership, invest in resources to attract and retain members, fix our finances, cut unnecessary spending, especially on events that we don't need, that don't benefit members, empowering trustees to ensure their role is clear, that they can properly oversee union finances, work towards transparency, end secrets in, and make decision making fully accountable. Hold leaders accountable. Ensure all office holders answer to the members they serve. The other thing very important is serving women's groups, allowing to grow across the railway network, having that supporting umbrella of TSSA. I believe dismantling women in focus was a mistake by the EC because this was now seen as a pocket. Now we see more pockets of women forums in Network Rail, and we must honour and invite this as we've seen in Kent women's forums, and it's grown across the industry. Also, very much keen to have allies for women to increasing and supporting females and colleagues. Equality, diversity, inclusion, having that support and playing its part in this industry is very much important. I am a long-serving representative of TSA. I represent people at national level and attend regular meetings at senior level. I've worked on the railway since 1986 and I've been a member of TSA for 19 years. I had various positions in both maintenance, operation roles, and also been a member of the TSA Executive Committee. I have an understanding of accountancy to support my role in previous roles within the railway. These roles including auditing, accounting, and checking procedures and processes. I am a member of the Network Rail London South Branch and play an active part. I believe engaging with members and being transparent is vital. Members need to know that more about TSA's need to know more about spending TSA's money, and we must service and keep our service levels as high as possible to make sure we get the best out of TSA for the future. Listening to members and holding people to account will be the top priority for me. So hopefully, please vote for me. Additionally, I think very much is important the message to say that I'm
That's
very much
time, Chair.
got it.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Thank you for your introductory speech. We'll now move on to our second Treasurer candidate, Mary Sitterley. You've got 3 minutes, Mary. Over to you.
Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you,
Yes.
Chair, and good evening to all the TSSA members present in the meeting today. I'm Mary Sitole, standing again for the TSSA Treasurer role. I'm standing because I believe in a union that delivers for its working members, one that is financially strong, independent, and always focused on improving your lives at work. Since taking on the treasurer role, I've been proud to help turn this union around. When I took over, we were staring at a deficit of about almost £1 million. Through determination and discipline, clear processes were introduced to assess wasteful contracts, cut unnecessary spending, bring in accountability. And I'm proud to say we've halved that deficit. And this is no small achievement. But my work hasn't stopped at the books. I have been on the forefront of negotiations for members employed by transport operating companies, standing up for fair pay and conditions. I was part of the delegation that attended the Department for Transport pay talks, and we achieved payment settlements for both the train operating companies and Network Rail. I'm also on the working group that is helping transition the train operating companies and Network Rail into Great British Railways, ensuring your interests are protected in that process. I bring real experience to the table. I'm an all-round station delivery member of staff myself, and I know the challenge you face day to day. Beyond the negotiating table, I've led our campaign to eliminate violence against transport workers, launching it in Parliament and continuing to raise awareness across the industry. I am active across the union, including the women's and EMIX self-organizing groups, and I'm proud to have their endorsement. So together with Brian Brock, we've ended expensive leases like the one in Bristol and I'll continue to make sure every contract that the union holds works in your best interest. Oops. My priorities remain clear: to protect your jobs, improve pay and conditions, make sure our union is focused on working members' issues, not internal politics. And in this cost of living crisis, we need all hands on deck, and I am ready. Once re-elected, I will finish the job that I started.
Thank you, Mary. Thanks for that introductory speech. We'll now move on to hear from the president candidates who will share their introductory speeches too. First up, we have Duncan Bates. Over to you, Duncan. You have 3 minutes.
Evening, everybody. I'm standing for the president. A lot of you don't know me, don't know my background. I was a conductor, 1998, driver manager, union rep for over 21 years now. The majority of it was with ASLEF as a company council rep for drivers, then a company council member for management in Northern for TSSA, and obviously on the EC, and then I'm back on the EC. Now, you're probably saying, why am I standing for president? We've got to think a few things are wrong. It's not that it's not working, it just needs to be increased better. Membership, we should be led by the members and nobody else. Nobody else should be running this ship apart from the members. Major challenge coming up with GBR. There's going to be a lot of retrain and remove people, because one thing we've got to get in there is no redundancies. And we can only get that by being organised about it. There's a number of people in this meeting here that know where I'm coming from on that. We need a team. We need a team now to go in to DFT to discuss all our members' issues going forward. Losses. We've got to fight it. We've got to fight it everywhere we can, in stations, booking offices, gate line. You know, a lot of support services are going to suffer. They're not going to want 20 payrolls, 20 IT departments, 20 procurement departments. So we've got to do that now. And I'm asking for your support as president, because I think we can bring this in. We've got enough qualified individuals that are members in this union to set up a forum and a committee going forward to sit and negotiate with the DFT. Recognition. We've had a problem with recognition over the last couple of years, but we're getting it back. We've got it back in Avanti. We've got it back in Trans-Pennine Express. We're trying to get it back in Great Western for our members. And they're growing. Our membership's growing from it. So that's another reason I want to be. I've been part of that with the individuals that are the reps there and training. These reps are going to need training now they've got recognition. Our training is okay, it's average, but it could be improved and it could be better. And having the reps working with each other going forward, networking with each other about terms and conditions and representing people and helping each other could only be a great thing. I'd have the company councils meet the EC once a month if I could. I think it'd be a great idea, because the EC then knew who the reps are, and they knew the EC and the general secretary, and work forward. I've heard all this about equality and everything like that. That should be a given. I shouldn't have to tell you that everybody should be treated equally, because we should do that every day. Every day. Staff, we've got a problem with our staff at the minute. Well, it's not a problem with the staff. There's a problem with the situation that needs to be resolved. And going forward, I would hope we can do that and work forward with it. Before my 3 minutes is up, I'd like to thank everybody who's on here for giving you time. And I do appreciate it. I really do. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your introductory speech, Duncan, and thank you for keeping to the time. We'll now move on to our second president candidate, Melissa Hayford. Over to you, Melissa.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you everybody for attending this evening. Hello, my name is Melissa Hayward and I am standing for re-election as your TSSA president. I've always stepped up when our union faced its toughest moments, like after the Kennedy report exposed significant management issues. It was a turning point and I led the charge, fighting to protect jobs, defend conditions and keep our members safe. As a working member myself in the control room, I know the struggles you face, heavy workloads, job insecurity, and a branch structure that no longer serves us. That's why I'm standing for re-election, not for a title, but to rebuild our union into a strong and functioning force that truly works for you, our members. Under my leadership, we've made real progress. We're getting our voices heard. We're launching impactful campaigns, and we're making our presence felt at regional, national, and international events. I've been through the toughest battles and I've earned those scars, but I am still here. I am still fighting because I care about what's best for all of our members. I don't back down in the face of adversity, and I'll never stop standing up for you, our members. I want a union that delivers, one that funds meaningful campaigns, shows up to key meetings, and stands in solidarity with all of our underrepresented members, women, Black and Asian members, LGBTQ plus members, disabled members, and young people. Solidarity is who we are. But to build a union that truly serves us, we need to invest in our reps. They're the frontline defenders who need the best training and education to tackle workplace challenges and lead effectively. I'll now continue to prioritise that investment, ensuring that every rep has the tools to make a real impact. The challenges ahead are tough, particularly with GBR and the future of our jobs, but we need serious leadership to navigate it. I've shown that leadership, and if you trust me with your vote, I'll keep fighting for you every step of the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Melissa. I'm now going to read out Adam Wilson's statement because unfortunately he is unwell and couldn't join this hustings. Okay. So, dear members, apologies for being unable to attend tonight due to illness, and thank you for listening to this statement. The TSSA is still recovering from crisis after crisis and still has issues that need fixing. Our membership numbers continue to stagnate, satisfaction continues to decline, and our finances erode. You can't afford for this to continue, especially at a time when see unrecognizable changes to our industry in generations. I'm just going to read it here. As chair of Network Rail, Milton Keynes branch, I have had the privilege to put together and work with one of the most diverse branch committee teams in the TSSA. Working together, our branch has pushed for important changes and challenged past and present general secretaries through boycotts and motions presented at the annual conference. Some of these motions include implementing a project to put members' needs at the heart of all activities, improving transparency and social performance within the TSSA, opposing the merger with the International Brotherhood of Boilermakers, decarbonising our pension fund investments, giving branch members a say in workplace issues. This year, I have presented motions calling on the Executive Committee to put in place a budget that stops spending more money than we have, and write and publish the rules for lay representatives elections to avoid favouritism and to strengthen TSSA democracy. Too many of our members feel disconnected and confused on how the union operates and how issues are prioritised. As a new member of the EC, I have championed for greater transparency, financial responsibility, greater member involvement in decision-making, and for a clear strategic plan backed up by costed proposals. But for this change to happen, we need new leadership. I have held voluntary roles in several professional membership organisations. I have been Vice Chair of the Chartered Institute of Building, CIOB, Health and Safety Advisory Panel to the committee. As part of the Institute of Occupational Safety and Health Member Advisory Panel, I audited the IOSH groups to ensure they spent members' money wisely in the public benefit and were delivering against realistic plans. In my professional roles, I have been responsible for the management of the strategic risks within the Great British Railways transition team, and I have led on the transformation and change within Network Rail around safety. I've worked across industry and government to create a whole industry policy and strategy for risk management. These skills, strategy, transformation, and a focus on members' needs are exactly what the TSSA requires at this critical time. To regain control of our finances, create a shared vision, and rebuild trust with current and future members by actively listening and changing how we do things. It is time for TSSA to undergo transformation into a modern, effective union. Together, let's work towards a better future for our union. Thank you. Okay, so that concludes the first part of the event where we heard from each candidate about why they're standing for president and treasurer. I read Adam Wilson's statement in his absence. We're now going to move to the Q&A section of the event, which I'm sure everyone is here for. So we asked TSSA members to submit questions to ask the candidates in advance. So we'll try and get through as many as possible. Okay, let's roll. Okay, so there are some questions specifically for the treasurer candidates and others for president candidates. Then we have some general questions that will be asked to all the candidates. Each set of candidates will be asked the same question and have up to 2 minutes to respond. So we'll start with the treasurer questions. I'll do it in alphabetical order and alternate. So first question is to Paul. How do you plan to ensure the financial stability and growth of the TSSA during your term?
I certainly look at it objectively and with full commitment. I would look at it in stages. I'll make sure that we've got financial commitments and investment plans in place. I'll make sure that we've got our bank accounts in order and high interest accounts, and making sure that our interest and our investment committee is engaged, and also with the people that we do investments with, making sure that we've got the right investors doing the right investments for us, if you see my point of view. I'll probably look at some form of plans, do it in stages, 3, 5 years to 10-year plan as well, making sure that we've got interchangeable investments where we can, to make sure we get the right investment going and making sure it's right for us going forward.
Thank you, Paul. Same question to Mary. How do you plan to ensure the financial stability and growth of the TSSA during your term?
I think I've got a proven record, so that I can deliver financial stability. Firstly, the deficit that I incurred when I came in as treasurer was almost £1 million, and we've achieved to half that. So that, which, as I said in my statement, is a significant improvement. We achieved that by actually carefully monitoring our spending, cutting wasteful contracts. So we looked at the contracts, some of them we didn't need them, so we had to make sure that all those wasteful contracts are cut. We tightened on spending, so to make sure that the spending controls were properly applied. But it's not just about making cuts, it's also about ensuring that we're investing for the future. And in that investment, you have to think about who are the best people that we need to invest in, and that is our reps who are on the ground day in, day out, aware of what is happening. So we need to, so we've ensured that we protect, I'm making sure that the education is protected, to make sure that there's funding allocated towards the education, because once we've got the good reps, we can have good campaigns, we can have good campaigns like the ticket office campaign that we are doing, like the violence against transport workers that we're doing. So we need to be investing in our members, in our reps, to ensure that financial stability. So my proven record speaks for itself, and I've delivered. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary. So the second question is to you, Mary. Again, given the TSSA has faced financial challenges, can you share a specific example from a previous role where you successfully improved the financial standing of an organisation?
I can talk about what I've done at TSSA, because that's where I'm running an election for, and that's where I'm currently treasurer. I've talked about the deficit, but there's also contracts around the properties that we've been renting, e.g. in Bristol. We've looked at that contract. We were spending a lot of money, so we've actually managed to bring that contract to end the term and save thousands of pounds for the union. And we've got the print contract that has been notorious for years. We've managed to make some cuts and some savings on there, although the contract is still live, but we've managed to make some negotiations to help us bring that the cost down. So I have worked well with Brian Brock when he was AGS to make sure that we are focusing on cutting that spending and making sure that we're making savings. We are still looking at contracts to make sure that we are not spending where it's not necessary to spend. Thank you.
Mary. Paul, so same question. Given the TSSA has faced financial challenges, can you share a specific example from a previous role where you successfully improved the financial standing of an organisation?
So the organisation that I was back in the day was the British Railway clubs, and the one I was looked after was Red Hill, where we was declining in membership and the location of the premises. We tried to look at new businesses coming in, supporting that the club was looking at renting out the hall space, doing church groups and things like that, charging obviously an minimal charge, but making a profit to keep us sustainable going forward, making sure we did events in the evenings and making sure that, you know, that revenue was coming in and we'd be able to put, you know, a good social club in good use, even to the public eye. So that's running a business. I mean, I can talk about the print shop as well in TSSA, if you like, because that was a problem back in my day, as many as others issues. But you asked me the question about an outside business, and that's why I answered.
Thank you, Paul. So the third question is, the role you're running for is a major representative of TSSA. Can you tell us about your experience of presenting, public speaking and media engagement? I'll go to you first, Paul.
Well, so I'm not keen on public speaking, never was. I know Minister tried to boo me in public speaking back in the day on EC, but obviously it's something that I need to do going forward. I'm able to communicate with people. I go onto Teams meetings quite often, and I run meetings, and I actually stand and go around talking to people at venues, especially at safety workshops and various meetings standing alone. I actually do Q&As and stand up in front of about 200 people in these workshops, and I do Q&A on behalf of of health and safety reps, within the network rail. So standing next to senior managers as well, giving that collaborative support. So I'm now sort of grown from that stage. I'm now at the next level where I feel can do public speaking a little bit more confidently. It's as you know, it's not always easy to do, but it's something that you get better as you do it.
Thank you, Paul. Same question to you, Mary.
I think I'm quite present in the social media world. I'm quite present in conferences. I do quite a lot. When we go for conferences, I do go up on and speak. I've been on the International Transport Federation conference in Morocco, and I did speak on that forum. So I am representing TSSA at most of the events. So I'm not just at events. I'm also busy around branches that invite me to come. I attend those branch meetings. I'm not shy to raise TSSA's voice on social media. I'm quite busy on there with whatever new information that we're sharing. I'm proud to have chaired our launch of the the campaign on violence against transport workers in Parliament amongst MPs, and I have been at the GFTU supporting TSSA activities in their in their conference that they had and the gala that they had. So I'm always available and ready to go wherever I'm needed by the union. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. So next question 4 is to you again, Mary. As you've both been TSSA EC members at some point, what measures did you implement to ensure greater transparency and accountability within TSSA? And how do you intend to build on that if elected as treasurer this time?
It was accountability. Was that the question? Sorry.
I'll say it again. It's a long one. As you've both been TSSA EC members at some point, what measures did you implement to ensure greater transparency and accountability within TSSA? And how do you intend to build on that if elected as treasurer this time?
I think professionalism and accountability are at the heart of how I operate as an individual. So those things that they're ingrained in me, that's the type of person I am with in terms of integrity. So I think I would consider. No, I think in terms of what we're doing now, I've introduced regular reviews in spending so that contracts, we're sure that the contracts are signed off properly and making sure that there's proper scrutiny around those contracts so that we're taking care of the accountability element. I've worked hand in hand with our current accountant and the General Secretary and the AGS to make sure that budgets are signed off properly and properly checked before they go ahead, which was something that was not happening. And I've tried to say that we need better reporting structures so where everyone is fully informed in terms of the financial decisions that are being made. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. So Paul, same question to you. It's a long one, so I might repeat it again for your benefit. As you've both been TSSA EC members at some point, what measures did you implement to ensure greater transparency and accountability within TSSA? And how do you intend to build on that if elected as treasurer this time?
That's a very interesting question now. So going back when I was on the EC, I was on the audit committee as well. As you know, we sort of, very stringent and we do check our accounts quite regularly on the audit committee, and I was chair of that. We did notice some discrepancies in some money, which we queried several times, bearing in mind that it was a large amount of money. That large amount of money went to out of the political fund, but there was nothing from any agreement from any EC members at that time. Previous EC said no, we couldn't afford it, but unfortunately the officers made a decision. So I said at that time, at that meeting as chair, not to pay that money. So we discussed the issue at the EC. So when we challenged the officers on it, they said they can do what they wanted. It's out the audit fund, it's out the political fund. It's money to be used. So they had a revote. So that was a challenging moment. That's a good example where we need to make sure that we're managing funds correctly. Now, my other time on the EC, it's been a bit of a poor experience. Every time we tried to vote on something or there was a question or an answer, it quite often used to get blocked. I experienced that quite a lot, and I'm sure Duncan Bates will honour that and agree with what I just said there. So this time, if I ever get back on there, it'll be more firm challenge because I've learned from that. You learn from your mistakes, you learn from your challenging, and you make sure it never happens again, and you put it right, and you work together collaboratively. Make sure we get it all sorted properly.
Thanks, Paul. The next question is to you first. The government's transition to Great British Railways is a major priority for TSSA. How have you contributed to getting the TSSA ready for this organising environment?
What is that to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So we're actually having these great conversations as we are with people, especially with reps. We're taking our times to go around to these workshops and spending 10 minutes having conversations with reps and members obviously I can't get to everywhere in talks and all that sort of thing because my main role is normally within Network Rail, and it's quite tight for me to get out on the Network Rail to go look at a top venue or that sort of arrangement. But I know forward at Three Bridges and places in Kent in their control centres, it's very much a high topic of conversation. Very worried about duplication and in that role, especially in controllers. Same thing with the other work that the train operating companies do with the train services managers and things like that. And anything with bands 1 to 4, they're a little bit concerned where the managers and HR could be duplicating work. So at the moment, we're having these conversations. It's that we need to think about what we're doing, not moving too quick and moving too fast. And we need to make sure that we don't jump into a big fire pan, if you see my point of view. So let's look at it very carefully with GBR. There could be advantages and it could be good, and it could be proper bad advantages as well, and disappointment for people, especially to members. So we need to make sure we manage it very carefully.
Thank you. Same question to you, Mary. The government's transition to Great British Railways is a major priority for TSSA. How have you contributed to getting the TSSA ready for this organising environment?
So I'm currently an EC member on the GBR team, the group that's working on the transition. So my role is to ensure our union's voice is present at every table where decisions are being made. So I'm thinking about protecting members' roles during the reorganization, securing bargaining rights, because it's only right as a union to make sure that those are protected. Intelligence gathering, because as you know, not everything is out there for us to understand how this is going to work. So it's important that we do intelligence gathering to see how the government is planning to implement this transition. So, and also making sure that we're keeping focus on the terms and conditions and the union recognition. So my role as the treasurer is the financial oversight that I need to look into and understand this process to make sure that the union is ready for what comes next. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Paul. We've now exhausted the treasurer-specific questions, so we'll be moving swiftly on to questions for the candidate standing for president. Moving swiftly on, over to Duncan Bates. What is your vision for the future of the TSSA, and how do you plan to lead the union towards achieving this vision?
Thank you. The vision is the union running correctly, running properly, where EC members can come in, decide things for the union, inform the General Secretary what needs to be done going forward, and move it on. There's a lot of things where we're still lacking. Communication is one of them. We're still having issues with people getting responses, branch secretaries not getting responses. Our database isn't as good as it should be, and it could be improved. So the communication isn't working. If I go onto a website, TSSA website, there's still things not on there that should be on there, such as who your full-time organizer is, who your reps are, and a telephone number or an email for them. We don't have anything like that. That needs to be improved. We also need to work with on-the-floor reps. You know, they're on the floor all the time, representing people, helping people out. And I would guess half the EC don't know who these people are. And we need to know who they are and work with them and get the training for them. I go representing people all around the country. I'm in Swindon on Thursday, representing a manager because he doesn't have a rep to represent him. No, that isn't good. I'll do it. By all means, I'll do it to help anybody. But it isn't good. We need to improve on that. Our full-time organisers need to get the union reps together, give them proper training, not just a TUC 1 and 2 course, and help them move forward. Regarding the union itself, we need to sort out the staff moving forward. As Mary said about the properties we've got and the finances we've got, they need to be looked at. We've still got the print room there, which we don't need anymore. You know, that needs to be worked out. We need to look where we're putting our finances, where we're investing it, we're doing it ethically, we're doing it properly. Because the last time I heard anything, you know, it was left in a normal bank account, just gaining normal interest. I might be wrong, so somebody could point it out to me and let me know. We need a change. We need to work with the staff going forward. Last year's conference wasn't great and it could have been a lot better. And with working with the staff moving forward, it should be a lot better. It should be a hell of a lot better moving forward. But we need to organise a bit more. We're an organising union. We need to organise. If we don't, we're going to fall behind. Thank you.
Thank you, Duncan. Same question to Melissa. What's your vision for the future of the TSSA and how do you plan to lead the union towards achieving this vision?
Okay, so my vision would be to be member-led, obviously, independent, totally inclusive. We need a union that stands up for its members in the workplace, and we've got to move past the toxicity we've had and unprofessionalism we've had in the past. We're already on a journey of deep reform post Kennedy and Connolly. So we need to embed some accountabilities for everyone, existing members included as well as staff, dealing with the toxic cultures, and build trust of our working members. And that's where our key focus must be. You know, the union was set up to represent our members' interests in the workplace. And I plan to continue leading by listening, being approachable, and by ensuring that all members set our direction, because we are member-led and I want to keep that. My main focus is going to be 100% on protecting members' jobs and working conditions, and pensions when we transition over to GBR. So that's a really big campaign for us at the moment, and I'm working with staff as well as the treasurer to ensure that that's smooth and we get the protections and what we need and what we want, what our members want. And we're launching campaigns as well. So the campaigns such as eliminating violence against transport workers was a good campaign. We took that to Parliament. It's been well received by everybody. So we've moved forward with that campaign, but also look forward to bringing some new ones out, including our special organised group.
Sorry.
Was that time? Sorry. Thank you. You're on mute, Mario.
Sorry, Charlotte, I've just lost the page. Are we we've done question 2 now?
Just check.
Charlotte.
Just checking, Chair.
I think both candidates have responded to question 2.
Yeah,
Is that correct? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Apologies. Okay. So Melissa went second. Melissa's now up next for the third question. So over to you, Melissa. Question 3. Our sector can often feel macho and male dominated, which can bleed over into the culture of trade unions representing transport and travel workers. If elected, how would you encourage BAME, disabled, women, and LGBTQ plus transport workers to get involved with the TSSA?
Could you just repeat that, please?
Yeah. Our sector can often feel macho and male dominated, which can bleed over into the culture of trade unions representing transport and travel workers. If elected, how would you encourage BAME, disabled, women, and LGBTQ plus transport workers to get involved with the TSSA?
Okay. So we've got to create a different culture, one that welcomes, empowers, and be inclusive. We can't intimidate people because people aren't going to join up otherwise. So as president, I have supported development of safe spaces and clear routes for our BAME and women members to lead, and I recognise an inclusive women's section at TSSA, which is leading on with the treasurer to train more TSSA women on the GFTU Women's Leadership Programme. I actively campaigned our working women members to join up for that, and I'm really proud that we were overwhelmed with responses. So I'm really proud of them women for stepping forward and going for that. So Mary and I have both been endorsed by EMITS, which is our BAME section of TSSA, and our Women's Forum. And I'm really proud to have their confidence and their backing. I've supported anti-racism campaigns and any initiatives to empower our under minority groups and members and empower their voices and their leadership. Our delegation to the ITF Congress was made up of a mixture of women and BAME members too, and we received a standing ovation there, which I'm really proud of, with our making changes that we had for women and BAME members and our working members. But we do still have work to do, and part of that is tackling the toxic behaviours internally wherever they come from.
Time, Chair. Sorry.
Thank you. You're on mute, Marianne.
Apologies. Thank you, Melissa. Duncan, would you like me to repeat that question? It's a bit of a long one.
Yes, please.
Yeah, our sector can often feel macho and male-dominated, which can bleed over into the culture of trade unions representing transport and travel workers. If elected, how would you encourage BAME, disabled, women and LGBTQ plus transport workers to get involved with the TSSA?
I'll give you that statement. I think it's quite true. When I started on the railway, it was very, very male-dominated. Now we've seen a change coming over the years, and it's been a good change. I think it's improving. But that's why we have the SOGs. The SOGs are there for people to go to a safe space and speak about whatever issue they've got, whether it's EMIX, DWG, LGBTQ plus, even future. These are all different pockets of society at the minute that aren't getting a good run because people are against it or anything like that. We've got a lot of people in this world that are not nice people. I've always brought my children up to treat everybody equal, regardless. We need to go through the SOGs and use them to gain membership, to show them that it has changed. 20 years ago, I could say 5 years ago, for the Kennedy report, couldn't I? The way people were treated then. We need to adopt these people in and get them in and show them this isn't some boys' club. This is a trade union moving forward, treating everybody as equal as possible, which we should be doing. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're a member of this union, you're a member of this union, and you should be treated with the same respect as anybody else. But we should also be treated with the same respect as other trade unions, which we're not at the minute, and that's something we need to work on. But everybody who's a member of this union is equal. Regardless, everybody is equal. There are bigots out there and misogynists and racists and everything, and it isn't nice. And I wouldn't like to be on the end of it, to be honest, if I'm totally honest. It's not a nice place to be. But that's our job. Our job is to make sure these people feel inclusive and looked after. Every member in this union should be looked after. And that's what we should be doing going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Duncan. I'll move on to number 4. How do you see the future of our affiliation with the Labour Party, and what part would you play in building relationships with our parliamentary group? That one's to you first, Duncan.
Yeah, that's fine. The decision wouldn't be mine. It wouldn't be yours. It wouldn't be Melissa's, Mary's, Paul's, or Adam's. It'd be conference who decide the affiliation of the Labour Party. And I think the members would vote on that, whichever way they see fit. We're just coming up to Great British Rail. And as you said, we're trying to sit with MPs and discuss things with MPs and everything like that. If it doesn't work out, what do we do? Do we come away, disassociate from the Labour Party, or do we try and work with them going forward? Great British Rail is going to be, a very, very hanging balance place at the minute, especially regarding jobs, especially if the government want to reduce funding on it, like you said in your statement the other day, Mariam. And we're going to have a big fight in our hands. And if the Labour Party don't respect our members, then it's up to our members to lose the affiliation with them. Our members are the prime importance of this. And if they don't want to be affiliated to the Labour Party, then they will let us know at conference. But I will work with every MP, councillor, anybody going in order to get them on our side, so we've got support there going forward.
Thank you, Duncan. Same question to you, Melissa. How do you see the future of our affiliation with the Labour Party, and what part will you play in building relationships with our parliamentary group?
So, as an affiliated trade union, I really do believe that our political voice matters. As a very wise friend once told me, you've got to be in it to win it. And that's what we have to do. So at the moment we're in it and we've got to win it. So, but we've got to also reflect that there's real issues facing our members. And I do support our Labour affiliation because working people like you and I need a voice in Parliament. And under my leadership, we have recruited a political officer to build our influence in Parliament and at number 10. We've started to rebuild relationships with Labour Party MPs as part of our parliamentary group. And I've worked to ensure that they understand our members, our members' priorities, and I'll continue to do so. But our affiliation also means we get to lobby the Prime Minister himself through our representative on the National Executive Committee of the Labour Party. And we get to have a say in the Labour Party's manifesto and the content in part of that manifesto. So we get to attend the meetings to lobby the government, put in what our members want and what our members need. And we do that on our members' behalf, on your behalf. So it's really, really important to feature of our mission to represent members at every level, and that includes at Parliament. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Next question is to you, Melissa. What have you personally done to help young members?
Sorry, I'm just writing the questions down. Sorry. Yeah, so I was a member of Future not so long ago now. Future TSSA being our young members group, special organised group, and I was a member for quite some time. So I'm absolutely committed to creating a real space and an opportunity for our young members. One of the things I'm really proudest of is approving and supporting a large cohort of young members to attend our annual conference, and we're going to do it again this year just to give them the opportunity to come and see how it all works and have a bit of training, which will be really good for them. But we've also included them to try and participate, to speak and contribute and to be heard at conference, which really matters, and that matters to me. We have to give our young members a platform, and that's our highest demographic forum is conference, and that sends a clear message, which is your voice counts. So I've also lobbied the EC to approve send 2 young members to take part in the Cuba Solidarity campaign, giving them a chance to engage with other trade unions and trade unions across our borders and around the world, whilst learning about the society and the culture and the economy of Cuba. These kinds of experiences are transformative, and I really want to help them for our members. I really want our members to do that. So I'm very proud of being a former member of Future. And I saw the value in the first hand in being a member of that SOG, and building my confidence and my knowledge. And I look forward to see and help Future create an even bigger role in our union, because that's our training ground. They're our future. They're the next people coming up, and we really need to support them and give them the space.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Duncan, same question. What have you personally done to help young members?
I've spoke to young members. I spoke to Harry and Simon at a conference. I've actually worked with Simon recently at the end part of last year regarding Southeastern. giving advice and passing experience on, which he said was quite good. I believe you told yourself, Mariam, that it was really good. In my position at the minute, I don't get a chance to work with Future. I've been an EC member for 3 months again, but yeah, I've not attended a meeting. And nobody from Future has contacted me, other than one new member this week, who's a young gentleman from Blackpool who's joined Northern Rail, and he will be a member of Future. I would like to sit down with them all and go through it in a conference, which we did last year. I sat down and spoke to them, but it's not pushed. The EC, do all the EC sit down with Future once a month, once every 2 months, to speak to them, to hear them, to see what they've got to say. I attend DWG every 2 months. Now, perhaps we should attend Future meetings or ask them to come and see the EC, because the only way you're going to get ideas from them is by actually speaking to them and asking them what their ideas are. Now, we've never done that, and it's not been done, as I'm aware, in the EC meeting. But I would say to work with Future, as with all SOGs should get at least once a bi-monthly meeting with the EC to discuss it. If not the EC, the President, the Treasurer, and the General Secretary, and the Assistant General Secretary. We should be working all SOGs together, not individualising one because they're young, but bring them all together. We just discussed about discrimination. So that's a question of one group when we've got lots of groups to discuss. Thank you.
Thank you, Duncan. So I can see that it's 8 o'clock and we had a series of other questions to ask, but I think I will ask one question for candidates. And Duncan, as discussed, I'll go by alphabetical order. So it will be you first, and Melissa, Paul, and Mary. The question is, what experience do you have of chairing?
I was branch chair at Blackpool North when I was in Asleff. I've chaired quite a few meetings. I'm the assistant chair of the DWG. I thought he was going to ask me about recruitment and retaining of members, but if it's chairing, I've chaired quite a few meetings. It's going to be hard to chair at conference, and I don't begrudge Melissa having that this year, but it's something I have to look up to and learn and move forward with. Yeah, I think I'd learn it well and go well for it and try my best. But I have been the chair of quite a few. I was on CMOG as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Duncan. Over to Melissa. What experience do you have of chairing?
So obviously as president, I chair conference every year, and that's no mean task. It's very tough. And I understand the responsibility that comes with that. So it's, it's not just about the rules and points of order. It's have to try and set a tone where everyone feels heard. I also chair the EC meetings every time we meet, which is currently monthly. And obviously I engage in a public speaking role as president, and I represent our members at the TUC, the Labour Party. So I have that's just within the TSSA. Outside the TSSA, I chair the staff size forum for the Joint Health and Safety Council because I'm a health and safety rep. I also chair our local beagle group for my dogs. So yeah, I'm very, very used to chairing meetings across all scales in front of a variety of people and delegations.
Thank you, Melissa. Same question to Paul.
Hello, yeah. So I'm quite happy with chairing. I quite chair a few meetings regularly these days. I did one today, and I do quite often on Teams. I chair so big meetings. Quite often I enjoy chairing. One thing I do not do is raise my voice and point my finger at people. I think that's definitely not the right thing to do. With large chairing meetings at conferences, not that experience. That obviously probably come with time, and that's being honest. But I do large venues where it's about 200 people in the room, safety workshops, and I do Q&A. But I don't chair. I just answer questions. So it's all a learning curve, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. It's learning and doing. That makes perfect.
Thanks, Paul. And lastly, Mary.
So I've chaired internal TSSA meetings, such as the investment committee meeting and the pensions committee meeting. When Melissa has been away, I've been able to chair the EC meeting once when she was away. I'm an active contributor in when we having our EC meetings, so I'm constantly making contributions. Part of the GBR transition task force, I'm making contributions as well there. I chaired the campaign violence against transport workers in Parliament amongst MPs. So my approach in chairing is really to be inclusive, focused, and fair. So I make sure that everyone's voice is heard and everyone's contribution is valuable. And so it's not just really about just going through the agenda of the meeting to say, yeah, we've done this. It's really about making sure that we're building that consensus and ensuring that there's progress in what we do. So, and these are the qualities I bring every time when I chair. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We're now out of time, so I'm going to wrap up tonight's online President and Treasurer Hustings. I want to thank the candidates for joining tonight and all of our members. Just a reminder that the deadline for ballots to be received by Civica is noon on Wednesday, 30th of April. Please email our support services inbox if you have concerns about your ballot. We'll share the email address with you and pop it into the chat inbox. I wish all the candidates the best of luck and look forward to sharing the election results with members in early May. Thank you so much and see you all soon.
Sorry, could I ask a question, please?
Sure.
Yeah. An hour, to me, doesn't seem long enough for the hustings. And some of the questions weren't as good as they should have been, really. I don't know, should have got quite a few things coming through. Would it not be better to organise another one where it's just random questions from members instead of everything written up beforehand and then you're all given a question each? Perhaps the membership could live online ask the questions.
Duncan, let's talk, because these hustings take a lot of resources and a lot of officer time. So let's talk if we can fit in another hustings before the 30th of May, and it has to be well before because people have to have a chance.
The last day will be 24th for the post, yeah.
So let's speak and see if we can. We've got EC to next week, so if we can, then absolutely. Okay. Thank you very much.